Hi, welcome back to the channel. So a few months ago I introduced you all to a new writing app called Atticus, which if you're not familiar with what that is, it's the latest app to challenge Vellum for supremacy in the ebook formatting space. And for the last few months it was really showing its ability to compete. And the reason why that's even important is Vellum is a Mac only software, and the creator Vellum has no interest in making it a Windows based or Linux or anything else. So those who don't use Mac were basically out of luck if they wanted to have special premium level ebooks for their distribution. And Atticus wanted to close that gap, and for a much cheaper price too. And so they've been working at it tirelessly to not only make it primo for ebooks, but they've actually recently pushed out an update for paperback PDF viewing. And so I want to actually do a video today that's taking a look at that and just some of the other recent changes that have happened since I last reviewed it back in October, November. So we'll take a quick look at a few of the additions, and of course you can decide whether or not it's the right time for you to invest. I will stay up front that two things. I have this copy for free because I was a beta tester. That means I also get all the latest news on it. And if you want the latest news, if you want to just skip videos and get the source directly sent to your email, you can go to the Atticus webpage and join their mailing list, and you get tons of updates. Well, not tons, but whenever they're relevant. But I do recommend that if you like this program, get on their mailing list so you can find out when there's new things coming out, and so that also might inform you on when you should pick it up if you're not ready just yet. But it does retail for $147, I believe, and that's for a lifetime. Which I think is a great deal for being able to do what it does. And again, it's going to ultimately be like an all-purpose writing tool. Right now, it's still primarily a formatter. But again, I'm going to show it off just a little bit more. You can see some of the books I've already put in there just to test it. Test book clearly is not anything. What we're actually going to do is we're going to go over to Paperweight, since that's my reader magnet, so you can give a little bit of a preview there as well, although it's not really in order. But we'll go there and just take a look at a few things. One thing I wanted to take note is right here you'll see that the design's different. I actually fixed this up the other night because I was tempted to do a video earlier, and I just they keep sending out new news, so the longer I wait the more I have to show you. But if you go up here, if you're on the writing page, we were on home before. If you go to home, you're back to this page. But if you go to writing and you hit more tools, this is going to pull up a window that actually gives you more options here, which you'll notice that there's a writing goal set here where if you want to decide when you want to finish your work or finish a chapter, you can set the due date. You can set how many words you want for the book. So if I want to set up maybe a goal for 40,000, I can just put that in there. And so once I hit 40,000, it'll set my count, and of course I can decide when I want it due, but I'm not doing that right now because I'm not actually writing it in this form. I'm still writing it in Scrivener, but again, this is while I'm still waiting for it to be the perfect tool. Right now there's still a few limitations, which we'll talk about at the end, but it's really neat because you can also set which days you want to work on it. And so if you miss a day, it'll call you out. So if I set Monday, Tuesday, and then if we want to, let's just save it here. And if you want to say write 1,500 words a day, or sorry, this is writing days for the whole thing, and then the writing habit is its own days. You can again set up when you want to set them. So if you have, if you want to track whether or not you're actually keeping up with it, this is a way to find out if you are in fact doing the work. But I'm actually again not going to do any of that because I'm not currently working out of this section. But anyway, that's just the goal tracker. But beyond that, there's a few things that are still not ready. Like the actual note-taking tool is not ready. The timer, there's a timer over here. I'm not actually sure what this is going to be. But if you come over here to settings, you can decide what you want your font to look like. So originally, if you go to default, it looks like this, and also the original version was to use spaced. If you recall old videos, this is how it looked. But if you want to write in an environment that's similar to what your actual book will be, then you can set all that here. And then if you want to have justified edges, you can do that as well. I don't typically like to write with justified edges, but there you go. You can also, again, use this drop down to decide what you want to track, whether you want the whole project or just the chapter. So these are just some interesting things going on with the settings mode. And that's all in the writing. There's also a few other things that you can do. They've recently made it so that you can save your back matter. There's an entire series on how to do that. If you go to the Atticus YouTube page, they'll show you how to do that. A few people have been confused by it, so it's one of those things where if you really want to see a demonstration, it actually probably be a good idea that I go back and test it myself, because I haven't really given myself a chance to do that yet. And I don't want to fumble in the dark trying to show you right now. So I'm not going to show you how to do that. Again, the Atticus website does it better because they built the thing, so they know how it works intimately. But so I do recommend you check it out. But nonetheless, you can now save your back matter so that if you want to reuse it for each book, you don't have to keep retyping it. And it's just a great way to stay consistent with your brand and all of that. So what I really want to look at today is what we just showed here. Oh, and by the way, one of my videos I never get to actually publish because it just didn't come out right. One of the things I want to try to show you guys is there's something now called a Dyslexic Mode. So if you have dyslexia, there's a mode that lets you work better. I'm not dyslexic, so I'm not sure how effective this is, but if you are dyslexic and if you agree that this works, just be aware that that's an option that you also have when you're writing. Again, this is not what it's going to publish as. It's just for you when you're typing it, so you can read it and not give yourself a headache or anything like that. I think in my old video I showed you all the different functions here. They have not really improved this one yet because they're still trying to get all the writing tools finished, but the formatting is where most of their work has gone into. So if you go back to the formatting, you still have the themes, and I have not yet updated my own themes, so I'm not going to show you that. But what I do want to show you is the previewer. This is where they put most of their focus in the last few months. Also, I want to take note of this book brush, which we'll come back to in a minute. But if you look at the, actually, I'm going to go back to my test. Do I want to go back to my test? I'll go back to my test at the end. Oh, never mind. This is what I wanted. I wanted an ornament break. Never mind. I'll do it here. You can adjust the size of the ornament break just over here with this little slider. So if that thing is too huge and you don't want it to cover the entire page, you can just adjust the size here. And whatever you end up making it is what it's going to print as when it goes to ebook. So I think that's really useful. Obviously, you can make your own custom image. So I have my book shell out uses $signs. So I don't want to upload a version of that for if I ever do shell out as an ebook, which actually I'm thinking of doing because I just recently changed the cover slightly to include a tagline, which I'm still experimenting on with whether or not any of these techniques will attract more readers. I don't know if any of it will work, especially since it's an 8-year-old book now or 7-year-old book. But every little thing helps. But yeah, that's one of the new things now that I don't think I showed off in the last video that I think is worth showing. And of course, you have your different font styles you can check out if you want to see what it looks like in one of these other formats that are standard for ebook, or if that's how you want to print it. But I think Palatino looks good. The book brush image creator, they're actually doing a webinar on that on Wednesday. I'm recording this on March 14th. So that's the 16th is when they're having it. If you watch this video before Wednesday, do be aware that if you're on their mailing list, you can probably get an invitation to check out a webinar on how to integrate BookBrush with Atticus. If you're not familiar with BookBrush, it's the site that people use to create their book promotions. I don't personally have it myself. I have something called Mockup Shots, which is sort of like the lower tier version, but I don't ever have to pay for it again. I still think BookBrush is the best one if you can afford BookBrush, and they are affordable. I just have a really low paying job, so I don't really I try to get lifetime deals wherever I can. But if I were subscribing, then I would say BookBrush for me would be just as useful as it is for everyone else. So if you're a writer and you want to do your own self-publishing and marketing, I would definitely highly recommend you look into BookBrush, and if you can afford it, do their subscription. And the advantage of then, again, is if you are a BookBrush subscriber and you own Atticus, you can integrate them. And that's what they're going to show on the webinar. So again, I don't know how that works, so I can't demonstrate that. But it is an option that you have if you do want more advanced items, including making ornamental breaks from within BookBrush. So of course you have all your settings here. You can decide which book the beginning page is for your ebook, and then of course you get your print, how you want your layout to be. So I say all this because I want to show you what the print looks like. One of the complaints, or maybe not a complaint, but one of the problems with a lot of software like this is the viewers get kind of generic. But if you go into Atticus, you'll find that you have all these different items. Like if you want to see what it looks like on a paperweight, you can click the paperweight and it'll give you a nice preview of what the paperweight will generate. Fire and your Galaxy tab, S21, which is very similar to what I've got. I've got an LG, but so it's not it's not Samsung, but it still looks fairly like that. iPhone, if you happen to be an iPhone user. Anyway, so there's a lot of interesting items you can use, but with the print in the old days was kind of, it was meh, it was okay, and then a lot of specialty software, they don't necessarily give you accurate data or presentation on print. Atticus has been working very hard to make sure you do get an accurate look, and so they've recently added in widow orphan control, like you can actually use widow orphan control and hyphenation. So if you go, before I click that, if you go down into the print sections here for the print settings, you get the trim sizes and all that. If you go down to advanced settings, you'll see that there's more options that you have that you can play with in order to get a nice print. So if I go over to the print item, what you see now is you've got a fairly reasonable example of what your print book may look like. So let's say if I take the font size up to 11, you'll see it's regenerating, and it may take a minute because it's not a short book. You'll see that it rose up a little bit in size. If I take up to 12, you'll see that it's even larger. Now I'm not sure what the standard print size is for paperbacks. If 12 is too large, I know 12 is standard for manuscripts and essays and all that, but if you do that on a 5 inch by 8.5, that may look a little too crowded. It just depends on the size of your book. So 10's a fairly decent size for paperback. But what's really cool is down here you see the calculating page count. It actually tracks how long or how large your book will actually be. So if I click on the page here, it's going to cycle through properly until I get to the well, this is just for I think, is this the whole book? I think this might only be for chapter 1. I'm not sure. Yeah, chapter 1. If I go to the next chapter, then we can see the next chapter. But 53 is what I have so far in this particular document. Obviously, I've written more since I included this, but and it doesn't have to look like that. I can change my theme if I want to. So if I go back to, let's say this is my Titus theme. If I want to do, let's see, what's a good one for paperweight? I think what's the last one? I think I chose Titus. I think that's probably the best looking one. Let's do this. Let's do chapter 1 like this, and paperweight is the subtitle for that chapter. So that looks a little better. And then if we want to do like you'll see here, like the little mark is part of the Titus thing. I'm not going to do Delphini. Actually, no. Let's do Minerva. Minerva is another one I like here. If I do that, we're going to change the look of it to, we'll see in just a second. There you go. So this is what it looks like there. And if I go back to chapter 1, I've got 3 years ago. So anyway, it's, this is what it would look like as a print book. Now, again, if you go back to their main page on YouTube, you're going to see a lot of different things you can do, like including background graphics. I mean, this is really becoming a versatile program for formatting, and it's getting to the point now where I'm actually starting to think that even the specialty designers like Affinity Publisher, which I have, that I use currently for my paperbacks, now it's getting to the point where I'm starting to think this really probably would be a good thing to test, because as much as I like Affinity Publisher, you do have to really work at making everything fit, and if Atticus can make it fit well on the first go, it's worth, in my opinion, it's worth trying to make that use it for print as much as I would for ebook. I definitely want to keep using it for ebook because I just think it's the best ebook formatter that I have access to. Comparing it to Affinity Publisher, Publisher is still technically more advanced, gives you more options, so I'm not ready to give it up per se, but for those of you who don't have specialty programs like Affinity Publisher or Adobe InDesign or anything like that, I mean, you may as well just get the single package here. It's like $147. You get access to paperback. I almost said paperweight since it's the story we look at. Paperback, ebook, and all of the above. So, and then of course, the other thing that's new, and I'll just kind of close on this, is that previously, whenever you exported a PDF, you had to retrieve it via email. They've changed it now so where if I export my PDF, it's going to actually be downloadable. So that's some of the new stuff going on, and again, they're not anywhere near finished. This is all still early stages, but that's where they are right now. I mean, they're coming along pretty nicely, and I mean, there's much more I could demonstrate, but in the interest of just keeping this video short and not messing up my themes too much, because I do plan to at some point come back and make a proper ebook out of this book, but I do wanted to show you guys that it's certainly one that you should have on your radar if you haven't put it on your radar yet. And so just bear that in mind. And if you go back to my other video, which I'll probably have linked either in the description or as my end card, you can see other things that, like other tips I have, including how to make a solid cover page, because the last time I tested it, the cover page was not great. I actually have not checked lately if they've improved it, but I haven't seen anything on the news front that says that they have. So I'm not ready to claim my confidence in their title page. Again, if I just show you what it looks like here, I believe this was my my homemade title page, but I'm not actually sure. I mean, it looks pretty good if I hadn't messed it up yet. But anyway, you know, if you check it out, it's you can have some opportunity to mess around with it and see if it's something that you like. But yeah, that's Atticus. That's the latest stuff going on with them. If you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, do all the things YouTubers tell you to do. You may have noticed that when I click, you see little like little rings there. I actually upgraded my screen share, and I'm testing it for the first time with this this particular video. I don't know that I'm gonna use this for every video, because I do think the one that I usually use, I'm still used to it. Like I'm still used to shaping the screen and all that. I'll probably continue to use that for some videos, but for videos like this, I know like when you want a demonstration, you want to be able to see what I'm clicking on. And so I do have this new thing called it's called screen to video. Let me just you can probably see it there in the window. Screen to video. I picked it up on Mode a few weeks ago, and so far I think it works out pretty well. Is it perfect? Nah, I mean nothing is, but it's an alternative to what's that? Not Canvas. I want to say Canvas, but that's a graphics program. The Camtasia. Camtasia is still, you know, the premium screen recorder out there, and I think NVIDIA's got one too. But this is one of those upstart softwares that will get better as it continues to evolve. And so, you know, I picked it for a low price just to test it. So do make sure you let me know if you like this video. There's other things I can do with it, like draw pictures. I think if I do Control D, yeah, I can pull up, you know, a little arrow, which I couldn't do in my other software. So, you know, again, tell me if you like this feature. So anyway, that's it for now. Come back for the next video. I don't know when that'll be or what it'll be on, but you know, I'm in the spring now, and spring's usually a good time to catch up on other things other than Writer's Bookshelf, or you know, other things like that. So do let me know what you're interested in. Let me know if you like Atticus. We'll have a link to their YouTube channel so you can explore it even deeper than what I've covered. And I hope you check it out, and or at the very least join their mailing list so you know it's coming along the way, so that once it gets to a point when you're ready for it, you'll know how to find it. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.